Council, please come to order. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mandy, could you please call the roll?
Rayner here. Butler.
Here.
Carlson.
Here.
Hopkins. To drop off the line, he will be joining via phone. And we have Stryland.
Here.
DeYoung is absent.
The City Council has adopted a code of civility. As elected officials, we pledge to promote civility through extending respect to others, listening to understand, disagreeing without disrespect, engaging collaboratively, and speaking up to address incivility. Just a reminder to everyone that may wish to speak tonight, this meeting is being recorded and broadcast for Pella TV, so if you do want to speak tonight, make sure you come up to the microphone so that people watching and listening can hear you and see you on camera. Can I get a motion for approval of the tentative agenda?
So moved.
Support. Miranda Horseman Stryland, any discussion? Okay, all in favor, please say yes. Opposed, no. Mandy, please call the roll.
Rayner
Yes.
Dan Stryland.
Yes.
Butler.
Yes.
Carlson.
Yes.
Hopkins.
Yes.
Motion passed. This time we have opportunity for a public forum. Anyone wishing to address council regarding agenda items, please step to the microphone, state your name and address, and limit your comments to 3 minutes. So this public forum is for agenda items. There's another one later for things that aren't on the agenda tonight. All right, I'll entertain a motion for approval of the consent agenda.
So moved.
Support.
Stryland, Branderhorst, any discussion? Okay, all in favor, please say yes. Opposed, no. Mandy, please call the roll.
Dan Stryland.
Yes.
Rayner
Yes.
Butler.
Yes.
Carlson.
Yes.
Hopkins. Hopkins.
Yes. Yes.
Motion passed. Okay, we'll move into a public hearing on West Washington Street and Iowa 163 northbound ramp intersection improvement project bids. Mike?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I'd be happy to explain this item for those watching at home on Pella Fiber and attendance. I'd like to direct your attention to the big board for presentation on this item. Mayor Ward stated tonight's public hearing is on the proposed West Washington Street, Iowa Highway 163 intersection improvements. And specifically what this project would be doing would be adding a traffic signal along with dedicated left-hand turn signals. This intersection, just to orientate everyone, Washington Street's right here. The northbound exit to Highway 163 is right over, so the turn signals would be right here. The dedicated turn lanes would also be located here. And here is the location of the proposed quick start that we have. Now recently we conducted a bid letting on the project, and as far as the bids, we had a relatively tight spread on the bids. We received 3 bids. The low bid was TK Concrete, just over $545,000. It is important to note bids came in $83,000 below the engineer's estimate, which is fortunate for the City of Pella. So let's go ahead, please, Mandy. Now, as far as our engineer on this project, which is Snyder and Associates, they are recommending awarding this contract to TK Concrete in the amount of $545,096. Equally important to note is approximately, exactly half of this agreement, half of these costs will be funded through the city's development agreement with Quick Trip. Now, it is finally important to note council will proceed with this contract, and we're looking at a final completion date by September 30th, and staff is recommending approval of the resolution this evening, Mr. Mayor.
All right, thank you, Mike. Mandy, any written comments received?
No written comments.
Council comments? Any member of the audience have a comment about this item? All right, then I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Support.
Carlstone, Branderhorst, any discussion? All in favor, please say yes. Opposed, no. Mandy, please call the roll.
Carlson.
Yes.
Rayner
Yes.
Butler.
Yes.
Hopkins.
Yes.
Dan Stryland.
Yes.
Motion passed. So now we move to the resolution number 6821 entitled resolution approving plans, specifications, form of contract, estimate of cost, receiving of bids, and making award of contract for the West Washington Street and Iowa 163 northbound ramp intersection improvements projects. I assume nothing to add, Mike?
That is correct.
Can I get a motion for approval?
So moved. Support.
Van Strylen, Carlstone, any discussion? Just one side benefit of getting this done will help traffic flow on Washington Street out there by creating some gaps, because it's somewhat of a challenge to get on there. All right, all in favor, please say yes. Opposed, no. Mandy, please call the roll.
Van Strylen,
Yes.
Carlstone,
Yes.
Hopkins,
Yes.
Reindeerhorst,
Yes.
Butler.
Yes.
Motion passed. Moving on, new Class C retail alcohol license with outdoor service for West Side, or WSS LLC. It's doing business as West Side Social. Mike?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, once again, I'd like to refer everyone to the big board for a brief presentation. As Mayor DeWart stated, tonight's petition comes to us from the West Side Social, which is located at 1000 Fifield Road. And this new license would be for a 12-month Class C retail liquor license that would become, if council were to approve this application this evening on April 15th would be the effective date with it. It is important to note that this is the location of the former Smash Park facility as well. Equally important to note that the application was completed with online with the state and is pending the drum shop certification. So as a result, we do have conditional approval this evening that staff is recommending, with that condition being pending the drum shop certification. With that, that concludes staff's presentation, Mayor.
Okay, thank you, Mike. Can I get a motion for approval?
So moved.
Support.
Miranda Hurst, Van Strylen, any discussion? Okay, all in favor, please say yes. Opposed, no. Mandy, please call the roll.
Reindeerhorst,
Yes.
Van Strylen,
Yes.
Butler,
Yes.
Carlstone,
Yes.
Hopkins.
Yes.
Motion passed. Moving on to resolution number 6822, entitled Resolution Approving a Hotel Motel Distribution Agreement with the Pella Convention and Visitors Bureau. Mike?
Oh, yes, Mr. Mayor, I'd be happy to explain this item. As Mayor DeWart stated, we have a proposed contract with the Pella Convention and Visitors Bureau for the distribution of the city's hotel motel taxes. It is important tonight to note tonight's contract is the same financial terms that the CVB is currently operating with. We're simply extending the agreement for another 3 years, which if approved with council, the new agreement would run through March 31st, 2028. And I believe, Mandy, is that our only slide tonight? So we are recommending approval of the agreement, same financial terms for an extension of 3 years. So with that, Mr. Mayor, that concludes the staff presentation.
Okay, thank you, Mike. Can I get a motion for approval?
So moved.
Miranda Hurst, Carlstone, any discussion? Okay, all in favor, please say yes. Opposed, no. Mandy, please call the roll.
Reindeerhorst,
Yes.
Carlstone,
Yes.
Hopkins,
Yes.
Van Strylen,
Yes.
Butler.
Yes.
Motion passed. Moving on, resolution number 6823, entitled Resolution Approving Community Enhancement Reimbursement Agreement between the City of Pella and Spirit of Pella for holiday decorations in Central Park and the Central Business District. Mike?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I'd be happy to explain this item. It is important to note that this presentation will actually be for agenda items G2 through G4 on tonight's agenda. So with this little bit of background, in 2022, the city did approve agreements with the Spirit of Pella White Bright Outdoor Solutions along with Jansen's Custom Fabrication to provide lights to our downtown. Now, as far as these agreements that we are considering this evening, they would extend through fiscal year 2028, which means they would expire on June 30th, 2028. It is important to note that the total cost of these agreements is right at $150,000. The agreements that we're considering this evening is the Spirit of Pella has graciously agreed to fund a majority of the cost for just over $90,000 of the $150,000 agreement, which means that the city's contribution would be $60,000 approximately over 3 years, or roughly just shy of $20,000 per year. Mandy, do we have any additional slides on this? We sure do. So as we stated before, what we have as far as agenda items G2 through G4, the first resolution that we're considering is the actual agreement with the Spirit of Pella. This is for the reimbursement for the downtown Christmas lights. The Second item that we have is for a majority of the Christmas lights, and that's the 3-year agreement with Right Outdoor Solutions. And the final agreement that we have is for the lighted tunnel that you see up on the big board, and that is with Jansen's Custom Fabrication. So with that, Mr. Mayor, I believe that concludes the staff presentation.
Okay, thank you, Mike. Can I get a motion for approval?
So
Support.
Carl Stone, Vanderhorst, any discussion?
I think this has been such a great project. This is a multi-generational project, and as a self-proclaimed non-lover of Christmas decorations, I love those Christmas decorations. I just want to say thank you, Spirit of Pella. This has been an amazing, amazing project for our community, for everyone.
Don't think you'll get too much argument about that.
I know, it's so cool.
Okay, anything else? Okay, all in favor, please say yes. Opposed, no. Andy, please call the roll.
Carlstone?
Yes.
Randall?
Yes.
Butler?
Yes.
Hopkins?
Yes.
Stryland?
Yes.
Motion passed. Moving to resolution number 6824, entitled Resolution Approving Contract with Right Outdoor Solutions for Holiday Decorations in Central Park and the Central Business District. Mike already talked about, there's 3 resolutions tonight on this subject, so can I get a motion for approval?
Support.
Carl Stone and Stryland, any discussion? Okay, all in favor, please say yes. Opposed, no. Mandy, please call the roll.
Carlstone?
Yes.
Stryland?
Yes.
Randall?
Yes.
Butler?
Yes.
Hopkins?
Yes.
Motion passed. And our third resolution, number 6825, entitled Resolution Approving a Contract with Jansen Custom Fabrication for a 60-foot lighted tunnel in Central Park. Can I get a motion for approval?
So moved. Support.
Carl Stone and Stryland. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor, please say yes. Opposed, no. Mandy, please call the roll.
Carlstone?
Yes.
Stryland?
Yes.
Randall?
Yes.
Butler?
Yes.
Hopkins?
Yes.
Motion passed. Can I get a motion for approval of abstract of bills number 2172?
Move to approve and issue warrants.
Vanderhorst and Stryland. Any discussion or questions?
I found it interesting, often we think of government spending and, a $600 toilet seat is always kind of this joke, right? We have a toilet seat in there for $29.95.
Yeah. That's good. That's a great comment.
All right. On that note, there's nothing I can say to that. All in favor, please say yes. Opposed, no. Mandy, please call the roll.
Randall?
Yes.
Stryland?
Yes.
Butler?
Yes.
Carlstone?
Yes.
Hopkins?
Yes.
Motion passed. Any council member have any other business you want addressed this evening? Any member of the public have any other business that you would like to address council with this evening? Just as a reminder, if you do, please come to that microphone, state your name and address, and please try to limit your comments to 3 minutes.
My name is it on?
It is.
Karma Ruthven, 300 West 5th Street here in Pella. I just have 2 issues I wanted to bring up of concerns. First is the alley where the drop-off box of the post office is. When you are driving in off West 1st Street to go into the alley, and then you want to get off on Broadway and make a left turn, you can't see if there's any cars coming from your left because of vehicles sitting there. Now, I know our parking is very limited in this town, but I did kind of assess that if there's 2 vehicles gone on the end, there by the alley, you can see. And there'll be no issues of somebody getting hit or whatever. Unless, I don't know if there could be a sign put up about caution or anything. I mean, I don't know whose responsibility it is to, but it's a concern and it irritates me because I have to creep out. And you can only creep out so far and a car's coming. So, you understand what I'm trying to say?
Yep.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I've been there.
Okay, well, then you know what I'm saying. Okay, the second thing is, and I think this has probably been discussed different times, but it's over at Central College. It is the four-way stop. Yeah, four-way stop, and it's on east and west on Independence, east and west of Independence, and south and north on West Third. I think I got that right. Anyway, the college kids walk, but they don't always use the sidewalks. They jaywalk. So they're illegally walking, and us as drivers don't always know what they're gonna do. Because they're on their phones, they pay no attention to people
Meeting
coming.
help system. To mute or unmute yourself, press *6.
To admit all participants in the lobby, press
*2 1.
To mute all participants except the organizer, press
*2 2.
To enable or disable entry and exit announcements, press
*2 3.
Okay.
To hear this message again, press *1.
We press
You've
it.
been muted. To unmute yourself, press *6.
Karma, I won't take this off your throat.
Oh, it's kind of, yeah. So, see, now I lost my train of thought. But anyway, so they're looking at their phones, they're not paying attention, and you don't know which way they're going. And there is sidewalks for them to go on the sidewalks so they don't have to jaywalk. So I don't know if there's anything that can be done about that in regards to, here again, a sign, no jaywalking, or, I mean, I don't know, and I don't know who's responsible. I mean, the president could tell the kids on an announcement, you're not supposed to be jaywalking and everything, but that's not gonna work, you know. And of course, I could go on University and go around to avoid that, so I don't get myself irritated about that. But why should I? Because they don't own the street, you know, to do that. So they're just being disrespectful to us people that live here, or they're just, yeah, not paying attention. You know, they don't care. So as a concern, I just thought I'd bring that up. So, see what you can do.
Karma,
Yes.
you need to holler at them, do you plan on graduating?
Yeah. Well, I know that my husband had complained to the yard people, the groundskeepers, about when they're in the parking lot and they're coming on to Independence. Well, they finally did put a stop sign there because people were just not thinking that they were in a parking lot and they were just going straight onto the street. And here we're coming around the corner legally. So now there is a stop sign there, which does help. So anyway, thank you. Your turn.
Do we have something to accommodate? Joy, can you help a little bit here?
Hi, my name is Reagan Pella, and I'm 9 years old. I go to Pella Christian Grade School. I started practicing swim team since I was 4. I like swim team because, well, it's fun. I get to swim with a lot of different kids and get faster and win medals. I'm asking you to please support the rec center so that we can have a new pool. One where we can practice our diving starts and not go to a tumble. And so I can swim on the team with my school when I get older. These are some posters of how many people are on the swim team, and if you want one, I can pass them around.
My name's Kinsley Grennan. We live on 1112 Beach Street. Some reasons why I think we should have our Pella Rec Center is we can't dive in our pool. It's too shallow for the water. We can't have meets too because the water is way too warm. We went to Minnesota and the water was really nice. It wasn't too cold, but it wasn't too warm. The filtration system isn't working a lot. There's a lot of sand and dirt at the bottom of the pool. If we did it, there would bring more money to the town for a Pella Rec Center.
My name's Randy Ronenboom. I live on 1112 Main Street. We need a new rec center because the pool is old, things are rusty, outdated for what we need to have. For as our town and areas grow, we need this rec center to grow also. We do need more basketball and volleyball courts as well. When we get this pool, our memberships will also grow. This is why we need this rec center.
So I'm Kara Grundle, 1112 Lincoln Street here in Pella. So I was in swim team for 10 years, so I remember the old pool. So this is just a few things that, and our kids have been in it for a long time as well. So currently our team contributes, I sent you guys all an email, contributes $20,000 a year to the city to continue to help with the pool and everything. Where that money is distributed, I have no idea. But also, how much are we willing to continue to pay for our current pool the way it is? Like, how long is it really gonna last if we continue to shell out money and we repair when we do truly need a new replacement pool? So have the competition and the rec center pool, which both will be utilized by the swim teams. Central could have a team. What about a master's program for us older people? That's a thing as well. That would be kind of fun to have. And just the high school teams would come instead of Pella Public. They currently go to Newton, which is a drive, which as a student, you have to shell out money to do that. You have to drive. Pella Christian, they go to Oskaloosa. So again, it would be nice to have that localized here. Southeast Aquatics, we have Knoxville that comes to us. We have Oskaloosa, we have Pella, and we have Atumwa. So there's over 100 kiddos that come to our swim team in 4 different towns. So whether we drive 1 hour to 4 hours for the bigger meets, which is roughly 500 kiddos or more, and then our smaller ones are 15 minutes to 45, and there might be 150 kiddos or even more. So also with our current pool, you know, like the kids have already said, the water temperature is too warm. They can't dive, they can't practice their dives, they can't practice their relays because of the way the pool has been built. So it's pretty much like telling somebody, let's go practice driving without a car. So it's the same concept. So that's why it's important to vote yes for this rec center on April 15th. So our kids are also gonna pass out, Kinsley will, We're gonna have a pool party, and we want you guys to attend. Go pass that out to them. So, if you guys could please attend, yes.
I have a question. Do we currently host swim meets? in
No.
the pool?
No.
Would you guys like to?
Yes. Why?
Because then we don't have to travel.
It's a lot of traveling, and there's some families that would attend more meets if we could have them local. Just the revenue, I mean, we, as families that do travel a lot, we shell out a lot of money to the community. Hotels, like this weekend we went to Minnesota, granted, it's our choice, but, you know, you gotta eat. We went shopping, I think everybody went shopping. You have to stay in a hotel or an Airbnb or something, so that's just produces all that revenue to the town.
And also, if we did the rec center, we used to travel to Des Moines basically all weekend because they have a really good pool. And then if we had it, then so many people didn't have to travel, especially because we went a lot.
Okay. If there's more people that might want to talk. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name's Jacob Abbott, and I'm 221 Drive, and I want this new rec center because my first movie, I was really nervous, and I think that people that are starting surfing and it's their first day in Utah, on the first movie, I think they should have it here because if they have it in their hometown, they might not be as scared, but unlike if you didn't, then you would have to have it somewhere else and you wouldn't be in your home. You wouldn't know where you were.
Kim Abbott, 1021 Edgewater Drive here in Pella. I want to thank you for moving forward with the rec center project and getting bids, which, having lived in Pella for 5 years, I know that people like when things come in cheaper, and they came in cheaper. Our children are members of the swim team, and we spent many hours at the current indoor pool, and they're just 2 of 100 plus kids, as you can see from the poster, that are swimming 3 to 4 times a week at this pool. And it just doesn't meet the needs of our city or of our swim team. It's aging, and it doesn't give us the opportunity to host a meet. Each time we've traveled to a meet this year, we're spending money in that community for food, gas, coffee, all of those things. Swim team has become very important to our family. Our daughter's in her first year of swim team and is gaining confidence in all aspects of her life. Our son loves to be active and be part of a team, but he has a blood disorder and he's not able to play contact sports. So this has given him the opportunity to be on a team, find success, and a place to fit in and feel normal with the other kids. Many years ago, my 8th grade science teacher said a phrase which I remember to this day: diversity brings stability. He was discussing ecosystems, but I've applied that to many aspects of life. In order for a town to thrive, it needs to have diverse opportunities for all of its residents. Please move forward with funding for the rec center. Thank you very much.
Hello, my name is Julie Metter. I live on 1105 Edgewater Drive. I wanted to say that I was on the high school team with Newman this past year as a freshman, and we had to have, every day we had to have our last period at the study hall so that we can make sure we can make it to Newton in time for practice, which is around a 40-minute drive, so we're driving around an hour and like 20 minutes every day, which is a lot for us to do. And also, if we had this rec center, we could have our own team here in Pella. So that would mean more people would be able to participate in swimming because they wouldn't want to drive right now. But if we had it here, it could be much more easy to have a swim team here and be able to have most people be able to participate in that. And also, I know that Pella Christian goes to Oskaloosa, so people from Pella Christian could also have
of our fiscal responsibility. Fiscal responsibility is paramount to everything that is happening right now. Some of the things I have found recently that in September of 2022, the City of Pella mayor's message, quote, "If the law is approved by a simple majority of the voters, the City of Pella intends to use approximately 50% of the funds toward infrastructure and road improvements, with the remaining funds used to support quality of life projects. The main quality of life projects are the renovation of the current community center and the construction of a new indoor rec center," unquote. A week ago tonight, for many, many of us who sat, not many, just a very, very few of us who actually came to the budget hearings, it was eye-opening, extremely eye-opening. In fiscal year 25-26, $1,767,000 of local option sale tax are proposed to be distributed as follows. Now remember, it was 50-50. Now it's 74 for the facility plan and 26% for road improvements. That's a big difference. And I find this very concerning. Then, another thing that I found was this Ballard King report. I don't know how many residents of Pella are even aware that this report is out there. This was done to see about the rec center. This is what they came up with under the demographic summary. The population within the primary service area is such that it would not support an indoor recreation center without a larger secondary area. Ballard King typically looks for a population of greater than 50,000 within the primary service area as a key indicator. The secondary service area provides a population exceeding this. So I want to show you this. It looks a little bit like a virus. This is Pella, right here in the center. The other area is where we would have to go to get our 50 or our 50,000. It's north of I-80 all the way to Grinnell. It takes these little jags out to Ottumwa, down to Sheraton, and goes all the way up to Pleasant Hill on the east side of Des Moines. That is where we would have to go to get this 50,000. Now, this is not an essential service. I also have a printout of what the city or the state deems essential services. The thing I heard last week at the budget meetings was that over the next 1 to 5 years, we are in dire need of new infrastructure. We have people who still have raw sewage in their basements coming up during heavy rains and have not been addressed. We have water lines that have lead in them. We have crumbling streets that are not being taken care of. We need to have these things addressed before we can move any further. And I just think the citizens of Pella deserve a survey. They need to be able to say what it is they want. A show and tell or a question and answer is not getting to all the citizens of this community. There are also still many items that have not been addressed. Cost, how to run it, amenities, increased staff needs. If you build a house or you start a business, these are all things you have to know about. And you have to project them into your business plan or into your contract. And these are even bigger red flags. Then, according to PACE, our number of visitors was down 11% last year. That's what our lost tax is based on, 1% of our sales tax. Without visitors coming in, is our lost tax going to stay up there? Visitors come to Pella due to its historic charm, shopping, beauty, and other attractions as it is now. How are crumbling streets and outdated infrastructure going to contribute to this? We have Central College, Pella Community Schools, our industries, housing, utility increases coming down, taxes, etc. This is all being negative things right now. It's not healthy environments for any of these. Our core essentials must come first. And this is a quote. I'm going to finish up with this quote. It is from Iowans for Tax Relief. If I can find it, kind of like teaching, you misplace have no idea where we're heading. I'm hearing more about recession. We need to be careful, very, very careful, because once this starts, it's constant. It's going to be something that will be constantly on our backs. So please be wise with your fiscal responsibility. Thank you.
Anyone else?
My name's Hannah Kramer, and I live on Broadway Street 506. And I love Cincinnati and listening about it. But when it comes to going to meets, it can be really hard or uncomfortable going really far ways just to get to swim meets. And I think it would be really convenient if we could have a rec center here in Pella for a lot of kids.
I'm Elizabeth Cramblett from live at 506 Broadway Street, and I think this would be such a great investment for the city because there was talk about how we have fewer visitors now. We just moved here last September, so we're fairly new to the area, but we really love it here. And we came from a really big city that didn't even conceive of having something like this. So I think this would be a great investment. It would bring more people to the city. It would give them a reason to come, especially in the wintertime when not many people would be coming here except for Christmas time. I know that I'm a huge fan of the swim team. I tried to get my daughter in it back where we lived in Montana, and she would not do it. But because of the special community here, the teachers, the staff, Southeast Aquatics, they're just amazing. And they just encouraged her, and she took a chance, and now she's thriving like she hasn't anywhere else. So I'm super excited about the community. When I heard about the rec center, I thought, well, that would be really nice to have more indoor facility because this was a hard winter for us. Montana, you can go a lot of activities outdoors, but not as much. So my son loves to play basketball. There's nowhere to really play indoor basketball except at PCD, and that's expensive. So it would be great to have a facility that they could go to. I know that it's already been mentioned that over 100 kids practice 3 to 4 times a week at Forest Swim Meet. It's not the pool that's there right now. We cannot have swim meets, as has been mentioned. So this would put Pella on the map more. People would come, and I think it would just be a way to bring the outside communities all together more as well. And we were first swim meet in Knoxville. I thought, well, if Knoxville has one, why don't we have one? It would be really great. And I would encourage the full bill too. I know there's options of doing just the competitive pool, but I would strongly urge you to consider doing the recreation pool as well. I think there would be more money wasted on the existing pool to keep it functioning. Why not just add that on with the competitive pool and all the other basketball courts, the volleyball courts, everything. It's, like I said, it's an investment on the community. People would come. It would boost the local economy, which in talking with some of the people who own the stores, I think they would appreciate that. This is a special town, and I think it deserves something like this. There's a lot of families here. I know there's talk about the infrastructure, and I understand that, but there's also a lot of families, and we're going to bring more families if we have the resources. I currently work in the city of Waukee, and yes, they're surrounded by many more people, but they are building a ton of things like this. But this would just be one center that would really benefit the city. So I strongly urge you to not only do the base plan, but actually do the full expansion that is being proposed with the rec pool as well as the competitive pool. Oh, one more note that I saw. The Central College and Pella Community Schools have indicated that should there be a competitive pool, they will add swim team to their schools. And I think that would be great. And that's, yet something else that they can talk about when people are thinking about applying to
yoga when they're doing it, essentially. My kids come home with completely red faces when they're done because it is so warm there. And also, we can't dive in, which a lot of people have said. So essentially, if you're looking at it as a very basic idea, it would be like a basketball team not being able to practice free throws. Like, that's one of the basic things with swimming, is being able to start off blocks. And we have 2 blocks that go into the deep end, and the deep end is very short, so they can't really do a good streamline. They can't really practice their relay exchanges very well. So it's a disadvantage for us. I also have, as she mentioned, I have a high schooler. I have 2 other kids that went through the high school program. This has meant that, like, usually parents are volunteering. The school's nice enough to lend us a vehicle, but we are driving them back and forth. So we have like a carpool group that does this. So it's not every day of the week that we're doing this, but when we do it, we're gone for 4 hours. We're gone from like 2:30 in the afternoon to like 6:30 in the evening. So it's a big part of our day and a big commitment for all of us. So I will say my kids have loved being part of the new team, and if we have to continue that way, we will continue that way. But to have a team in town that they can be a part of and, you know, wear the Pella name on themselves, I think that would give them a lot of pride. So, thank you. And I have a lot of swim team information, so if you have any questions, please let me know.
I do have a question. What is the temperature of the water in a competitive pool?
A competitive pool is usually, I think, around 76 degrees. I would say ours runs at in the 80s.
Okay, thank you.
And it is a huge difference. Like the kids can, when they go competitively somewhere elsewhere, they can tell a huge difference.
Okay, thank you for answering that.
Yes, and I would say that would be a push that I would have for having both the rec pool and the competitive pool. Because then you have all these little kids that are coming for swim lessons and they are freezing in a big competitive, big, deep competitive pool. People that are elderly and want to walk, they do not want a deep, cold pool. But our swimmers need that, lap swimmers need that.
And that's exactly why I did ask it, because, you know, there's been some discussion that you could commingle the competitive pool with like water aerobics, but it sounds like those are 2 completely different temperatures.
I would say yes, definitely. You're going to have, like the crowd that you have for aerobics, for water aerobics, is going to want warmer water. That's just what they will be attuned to. The people that walk in the pool will want warmer water. Anyone that does rehab would want warmer water. But anyone who wants to swim competitively does not want to be in that hot pool.
Well, I appreciate it. It's a question I've had for months and keep forgetting to ask. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Crystal Jonas Weaver, and I don't know if I'm allowed to speak because I don't live in Pella, but I'm gonna anyway. So I live in rural Nebraska County, actually east of rural Nebraska County, so we drive 24 miles 4 times a week to have swim gear. My high schooler is involved in many activities, but we still make the commitment every day to come over here and swim, and twice in the summer. So in the summer, he will swim 8 times during the week, Monday through Friday. And that is my commitment to this team to make sure that he has the best competitive advantage. The coaching here is far better than any other school or any other team we have been part of. And this will be our 7th year starting this summer with Pella. Like I said, he competes in high school level right now, but I still brought him over here every night that we could so that he would continue to get the best coaching in this area for us. And while we're here, we're committing to at least an hour and a half of practice. We eat here, we do our grocery shopping here, we get all of our other things here. My Anytime Fitness membership is here. Like, there are so many things that I use in Pella that I don't use in Oski because I am here 4 days a week. So, again, I'm from Nebraska, but just know that there are families that are committed to being here in this town every day for recreational purposes.
So what high school team is he on?
He's an Oskaloosa.
For
Yeah.
us.
am the treasurer of the swim team as well. So I've committed a lot of time here. So yes, thank you.
Anyone else?
Something a little different, maybe? I was Mike Filippini, 205 East 13th. I was at a group of men this morning, and they were all in agreement that the garbage pickup, the leaves and twigs and bulk waste is done efficiently, so I thought I'd pass that on. And I thought the practice tool time parade this morning went really good. I wanted to thank them. Did you notice though they go in the wrong direction? Supposed to be heading north.
That was just a big April Fool's joke.
Okay, anyone else?
I'm just gonna move this out of here. Jessica Klein, 1655 Eaton Avenue, New Sharon. I realize that's also not with, it's rural Nebraska County. We are the last home within the Pella School District. So I'm speaking this evening as a parent of 2 children within the Pella School District. My daughter spoke initially. They've been involved in swim team for about the past 5 years. On any given evening or over the noon hour, you will find a member of our family at the pool. We are there literally all the time. Our kids do both summer as well as winter swim. Many of the families that are here tonight swim both of those seasons. What that means for many of us is that we have about 2 months out of the year that we're not in the pool 3 to 4 nights a week. The rest of the year we are there and really spending a ton of time. I'm so proud of all of the swim teamers. People that got up and spoke this evening. One perspective that I want to add, and this is both for swim team as well as the community center, and why I think these 2 projects are so important. My kids, thankfully, are really nearing past the age where we need full-time daycare or aftercare. But when they were at younger ages, just starting in school, any kind of an aftercare was really hard to find. There are many things that have happened over the last few years in this community, including the Little Dutch Academy, that have helped to improve that. But without the programming on Wednesday nights at the community center, and honestly without swim team the way that it was structured on Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday, I'm not sure that the 2 of us would have been able for both of us to stay in the workforce in the way that we were. And so I think that that's another piece of consideration as you think about these projects and what they mean for families. It may mean whether a family can continue to have 2 incomes or not. So I realize there's a lot of economic considerations, and I would echo all of the things that different families have said. But that's one perspective that hasn't been shared that I think is really important, because these after school activities, places like a rec center or a Y, open up possibilities for safe spaces for kids to spend time. And sometimes that's really, really needed by families who just aren't able to figure out care in any other way. And we're a family. I am a lifelong member of this community. I have all of the aunts and uncles, the broad village that I should have been able to tap into. And really it was these 2 things that allowed us to stay in the workforce. Thank you.
Okay, anyone else? All right, then we will adjourn to a policy and planning session to discuss the ice rink chiller system request from the Spirit of Pella. Mike?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Once again, I'd like to direct everyone's attention to the big board for a very brief presentation. And we have a project that the Spirit of Pella is spearheading and proposing a very exciting project, which would be the addition of the chiller system to the Caldwell Park ice rink that we have pictured up on the board. Now, the reason for the chiller and the reason why the Spirit of Pella is interested in adding the chiller at Caldwell Park is currently for the ice rink to be operational, the air temperature needs to be 32 degrees or below. We have Mr. Chandler Nunico here in attendance as well that can shed some light on some of the operating difficulties that we have. But what this has resulted in past winters is a very limited amount of ice skating time. This past winter, ice skating rink was available for only approximately 15 days on this as well. Now, with the addition of a chiller system, it's thought that we could raise it from 32 degrees to be operational when the temperature is 50 degrees or below. And what the thought is, or what the hope is by adding a chiller system, that we'd be able to extend the skating season from late November to early March. So let's go ahead, please, Mandy. Now, as far as the initial proposal that the Spirit of Pella has, as they've stated, they are interested in raising funds for the project on this. So there's been some discussion between the Community Services Department and the Spirit of Pella. Tonight's the first meeting that we have with the City Council to talk about this project. But what's tentatively on the table is the Spirit of Pella is proposing to raise funds for the initial acquisition cost of the chiller project, which is approximately $500,000. The city would be responsible for operating the chiller system. Now, I'm putting this up on the board. We had an initial budget submitted by our community services staff for the project, and the range on that, when you count the initial startup cost for the city, ranged somewhere between 15 to 35. That's obviously up for discussion, and a big user fees would be a big part of the discussion on that. That's kind of the benchmark range that we'd be looking at, somewhere right around then, that would be subject to approval by the Pella City Council. So if you wanted to look at it simplistically, the raising of the funds for the initial acquisition cost of the project would be the responsibility of the Spirit of Pella. The city would be responsible for operating it. Now, on the electrical side, if we did nothing like we currently do with the ice skating ranges, had people bring their own skates, the energy cost on the chiller system, we believe, is somewhere between $11,000 and $15,000 on an annual basis. So with that, Mr. Mayor, I know we have Mr. Von Zalstra, the Spirit of Pella, in attendance as well. And if there's no further questions for staff, I'd like to go ahead and turn the floor over to Bob for additional comments.
I think many people really want an ice skating rink here. I visited several times with Jeanette Vaughn. She had two big requests coming in there as popular requests. One, people want a splash park, and then they want a skating rink. And Mike indicated the last year this past season, we had about 15 skating days. A year ago, it was 4 days. If you talk to the skating enthusiasts, we had 3 days. And so at this point, the Spirit of Pella is willing to go ahead and raise the money, do the full purchase of all the parts, pay for the installation. Basically, the installation and bringing it up to operating condition is the responsibility the Spirit of Pella is willing to take on. And really, we proposed a gifting agreement with the City of Pella, which we would fully sponsor. And it's our hope that we could do that. But as an example of the enthusiasm behind this, there is a skating enthusiast group. They're loosely organized under a Facebook, and it's Contaki-Pella. There are about 85 members on that. And they literally keep track of day by day during the winter season whether the red guy is out in front of the rink or the green guy. The green guy says they can go out and skate, the red guy says you're out of luck. And there's just a lot of people that pay attention because they want to skate. And it's really about the only really active outdoor sports you can be involved in for many months. You know, surprisingly, it's not cold enough to keep the ice frozen. It's cold enough to make it miserable outside. And so ice skating is a wonderful activity. Spirit of Pella has been betting on the come a little bit. We've talked to one major donor, and they've already committed, if we can get this approved, they've committed $100,000. That's on one visit. So we're relatively comfortable that we can go ahead and raise the funds to do this. And really, we're asking the city to sign up for owning it if we pay for it. So I think that's as simple as that. So I'll answer any questions you may have. Lynn, you're laughing. It's right across the street from here.
I agree with you. I think that we heard about diversity in sporting events, and I think that skating is an up-and-coming sport. I can look out my kitchen window and see the ice rink, and boy, when it's active, it is active. And I really applaud your organization. I think it's a fabulous project, and I think about that facility has restrooms, it has a concession stand area. It could really be a benefit to organizations like your own to perhaps man the concession stand and make funds for their swim club. I just love the whole deal.
Yeah, we expect, as an example, there's going to be youth groups and church groups, and there'll be skating parties there. Other communities have done things like this, when the ice is good, there's huge demand for it.
The one in Des
Spencer,
Moines,
go ahead.
the one in Des Moines is really, really active. It's nice weather and they're out there skating. Doesn't happen in Pella.
Yeah, and our rink, if you're comparing to the one by the river in Des Moines, this one has cover, so it makes it a lot easier, less expensive to maintain the ice, and the concrete under the rink area is insulated. So both of those be a huge advantage in terms of running a rink. And in this case, the rink itself, it's a portable system, so they roll out the rink during the winter time, cover it with ice, typically 1 to 2 inches of ice, and then they roll it back up in the spring, put it in storage, and at that point, then the shelter house returns to its normal use. And it's a pretty good sized rink. It's 120 feet long by 50 feet wide. It's the rink that's laid out there now. And that's about 2/3 of a typical high school competitive rink. I'm not sure it's quite big enough for curling. We have at least one guy in the team who's an advocate of curling. He ever liked it.
You said competitive range. One of my questions, hockey, is it
It's
just sort of a hockey?
It's good enough for youth hockey and good enough for pickup game, but it's not, as an example, high school hockey, it's too small a rink to have a high school team on it.
Is that under consideration? I'm assuming it's not quite wide enough.
It's both the length and a width issue.
And the facility, the building itself couldn't house.
And the building itself is not really large enough to do it.
Okay. Second one, I couldn't quite hear, is there going to be rental skates for the little walkers that help you
walkers that just
skate?
learn to
Is that
skate
kind of
behind?
stuff a part of the plan?
Some of those are already out there. Crossroads has donated, I think, 90 pairs of skates that are used that they sign out, and I'm not sure who paid for the little skating things. They're already out there, but last year they used them 3 days, and this year they used them maybe 2 weeks. So.
And that's part of the call for the accessory building, storage building?
Well, some of the accessory kind of, that we store in there, but some of the accessory, the $500,000, it includes an ice surfacing machine, a little mini Zamboni to put behind a lawn tractor. It includes netting around it. If there are people out there playing pickup hockey, you want to make sure that the pucks stay inside the rink and not come flying out. So it includes netting around it, includes rubber track around it so you can have your skates on and walk on and off the ice, some of those kind of things.
Thank you.
So, the time frame, obviously you gotta raise some money, but is there like a big lead time to get a system like this, if you have to order, or?
Well, ideally, I mean, the pending agreement from the city that we can do this. We actually have access to some liquidity of the funds already in Spirit of Pella, and the long lead item on it is getting the chiller itself, and that right now has a pretty long lead time. It's a 30-week lead time. If we would pull the trigger yet in probably by the end of April, we could get that chiller in place in November. So the earliest we would do it is this coming season. A lot of things have to fall in place just right for that to happen.
Any other questions for Bob? Thanks.
Thank you.
Any other comments? We need to decide, stay on that one for a second, Andy. We need to let staff know to move towards an agreement with Spirit of Pella on this project. I think someone mentioned, talked a little earlier about, had just moved to Pella not too long ago, talked about it being a special community. This is exactly why. It's a community of ideas, but even better than that, people go out and say, you know what, this is a great idea, we'll just pay for it too. That's what makes Pella special. So, is anybody opposed to having further discussions, coming with something? Okay.
Thank you.
All right. There's some other projects, updates. Anybody have questions about any of this stuff? Okay. Then that's the end of our agenda. We do need to go into closed session, which there won't be anything coming out of closed session, so out of closed session and adjourn the meeting. Pursuant to Iowa Code Chapter 21.51J to discuss the purchase or sale of particular real estate only where premature disclosure could be reasonably expected to increase the price. The governmental body would have to pay for that property or reduce the price the governmental body would receive for that property. Support. Carl Stone and Stryler. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor, please say yes. Opposed, no. Mandy, please call the roll.
Carl Stone,
Yes.
Van Strylen,
Yes.
Branderhorst, Butler,
Yes.
Hopkins.
I don't think there's any motion to come from the closed session, so I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Support.
And Stryland, Carlstone, all in favor, please say yes. Opposed, no. Mandy, please call the roll.
Van Strylen,
Yes.
Carl Stone,
Yes.
Hopkins,
Yes.
Branderhorst,
Yes.
Butler.
Yes.
We are adjourned.